Hello and welcome to Topstory. A fresh glimmer of light in the tunnel of Colombia's hostage crisis. Marxist rebels in that country have released 4 parliamentarians, including a senator, who were held for up to 6 years. It's the second unilateral move by the FARC guerrillas this year. In January, they freed 2 female politicians. Optimists say the momentum could lead to a deal between the FARC and the Colombian government. This would see jailed rebels exchanged for several dozen captives, including Franco-Colombian politician Ingrid Betancourt. One of the hostages just released says she is very ill. That's prompted a call for action from Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez, who's played a central role in the crisis. But the FARC have made it clear there will be no more unilateral gestures, and the prospects of a negotiated settlement with Bogotá remain dicey. Well, to discuss these latest developments, I'm joined now by Pascal Drouot, a Latin America specialist at an international relations think tank here in Paris, the Institut Choiseul. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. Do you believe this is the ball can still keep rolling, or has it stopped now in the light of the FARC's statement?
Manuel Marulanda, the leader of the FARC since 1964, yesterday gave a communiqué of praise saying that it is a unilateral action, liberation from the FARC, but now we have to discuss, the FARC said, about demilitarized territories inside Colombia. So it could be the last unilateral action from the FARC about the hostage.
And that's very bad news for the other high-profile hostages.
Of course, it could be a bad news, and we have news about Ingrid Betancourt. Bad news, she's ill, and of course it is today a case of urgency to find a solution.
And we know that because she's such a high-profile figure, that she could be the top card that the FARC would play last, and that's the danger, isn't it, given the state of her health?
Definitely, but we must understand that for the FARC, the hostage are only, and I'm sorry to use this vocabulary, an instrument to catch political objectives. Who could be the political objective today of the FARC? The FARC are, since 2002, on the list of terrorist movement from the European Union, from the USA, and of course from the FARC, created in 40 years ago. It is absolutely necessary to go out from this list of terrorists.
And is that why they're reaching out to Hugo Chavez? That's a window to respectability.
Yes, you are using a word very important, a window. We have today with the international community to find a third way to complete the Colombian dispositif, also having discussion with Hugo Chavez, perhaps with the president of Brazil, and of course with France, because don't forget that France is a neighbor of Colombia, of Venezuela. The biggest frontier from France is with Brazil, and so because Ingrid Betancourt, but also because this geographical situation, because the problems we are talking about, I'm thinking about the traffic of drugs, for example, we have to be actors in this part of the world.
Okay, well, before we focus on the other players in the region, let's just talk a little bit about Hugo Chavez. Is there any chance of him being reinstated as mediator, or are these tensions with President Uribe going to prevent that?
Well, Hugo Chavez has a dialogue, direct dialogue with the FARC. He won the liberation of some hostage at the beginning of the year, and yesterday 4 hostage has been liberated because the dialogue, the discussion with Hugo Chavez and the FARC. So today we know that it is a special link, because a common vision of a political vision. They are talking about a Bolivarian republic as a sign of independence. But But Hugo Chavez, with Hugo Chavez, we can imagine action with all the Latin America actors. I'm thinking about the last visit the Prime Minister of France did in Argentina last month of December, when Cristina Kirchner took the responsibilities of leader of the country, when he met 7 leaders of Latin America. President Lula is concerned by the problem of Colombia because Brazil has a common frontier with Colombia, as Hugo Chavez, as I said, France, as Great Britain. So there are many countries, many actors who can play a role in this dramatic situation.
But aren't all these actors out of touch with Colombian society? I mean, the criticism of Hugo Chavez is that he simply doesn't understand the dynamics inside Colombia. We saw these huge demonstrations against the FARC at the beginning of February.
It is true that the population is sick of this situation. We must understand that, first of all, Colombia is a great country, is 1 million kilometers, is a dynamic country on economical point of view. There are many investments, and people want to live in peace and in the unity of the country. So, of course, they want to stop this situation, but also they have to fight for the solidarity of the victims. There are too many hostages, too many victims in this country, because resolving this situation in Colombia, Colombia will be back in Latin America.
Okay, Pascal, we will probably have to wrap it up there. Sorry, we're sort of running out of time, but I'd just like to say that you are the author of a book that's just been published on the FARC. It's called The FARC Confessions of a Guerrilla Fighter, and this is published by Choiseul, which is also the name of the think tank which you work for. Pascal Drouot, a specialist on Latin America and the FARC specifically. So thank you very much for joining us on Top Story today. We'll keep you abreast of all the developments out of South America, and do stay with us here on France24.
Story program dedicated to international news was brought to you by Le Monde.